And very apropos, Trump world order. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Oh, remember them? Their predictions were dire.
I think Americans need to understand the alliances are over. The United States is alone.
We're losing the economic alliances, and we're risking losing the national security alliances.
It's a disaster for American alliances. If I'm China, I'm loving this, right? Because all these alliances are falling apart.
Those alliances are falling apart. Perhaps a different line of work is in order, folks. Not only are alliances not falling apart, they're being repaired.
Convey our highest respect and appreciation to you for demonstrating the will to defend peace, strong leadership, and dedication to the Korea-U.S. relationship.
I would like to wish each and every one of you prosperity and also world peace. Let me raise a toast. For world peace and collaboration between states.
Okay, the Golden Crown is just going to send all the No Kings people into the stratosphere. This is my personal favorite. He was even greeted in South Korea with a red carpet and his signature song. What you saw this week is a spectacular table reset. When we look back on this period years from now, we will see that it wasn't Joe Biden, who the media, remember, they anointed him as the expert on foreign affairs. He traveled the world. He's no one smarter on foreign affairs than Joe Biden. But the man who reshaped U.S. foreign policy was Donald J. Trump. Because he knows that if America prospers, our allies will as well.
When America thrives, our partners thrive, and our alliances thrive with all of the countries. The Indo-Pacific thrives, and that's good for all of us. And the entire world becomes safer and wealthy and greater than ever before. We get along with a lot of countries. We solved a lot of wars and a lot of problems, and that's all good for all of us.
Now we know why I called it Liberation Day last spring. Because it took that forceful and jarring moment, all those tariffs upped, followed by a relentless yet delicate series of trade negotiations, to remake the entire political conversation around tariffs and then reclaim our sovereignty that will guarantee our future independence. Now, 7 months later, the entire international marketplace has factored tariffs into their business models. And yet the world, last time I checked, it didn't come to an end.
Mr. Toyota was there from Toyota, and he's agreed to invest $10 billion in building auto plants. They're going to build numerous auto plants throughout the United States with American workers, as you know. And it's a tremendous, it'll be one of the biggest investments ever in the auto business. It's the old story. If you build in the United States, you don't have any tariffs, so everyone's coming in.
America's wealth has grown, inflation has slowed, and the Dow Jones has climbed more than 12% this year. And now U.S. manufacturers will have a fighting chance as countries know that the years of outsourcing everything to Asia are over. We're not going to put up with their globalist games any longer. But back home, Democrats' big moves include embracing socialism, refusing to reopen the government, and complaining about a ballroom. Well, that seems even more petty and more foolish. Every move they make, especially when it's compared to what Trump is accomplishing in his pivot to Asia.
We're over $17 trillion, probably up to $18 trillion of investment. In the last 4 years of the last administration, there were less than $1 trillion. And we're over 17 trillion. We're close to 18. I think we're going to be 21 or 22 trillion by the time I finish my first year. And there's never, in history, there's never been anything like that for any country, not even close. And part of that is the national security, given to us by the tariffs, properly used tariffs.
You know I love tariffs. Well, no candidate in the midterms is going to argue going forward that we should tie ourselves more tightly to China. And in 2028, can you seriously imagine any party nominee arguing that we should return to the pre-Trump days of trade rip-offs for American businesses? Will they be urging that Toyota and Hyundai stop building their factories here? Will any serious Democrat try to argue that America should abandon its new Trump-ordered push into rare earths? He's totally changed the game to one of greater fairness and greater opportunity for American workers and our manufacturers. And now it's the way it always should have been, of course. Any country that wants access to our marketplace is going to have to pay, and the relationship will have to be reciprocal. That's why this meeting with Xi in a few hours is so critical. Trump needs to keep the pressure on.
I think we're going to have a deal. I think it'll be a good deal for both. And that's really a great result. You know, that's better than fighting and going through all sorts of problems. You know, when you're talking about nations, it really is a little bit different than you're doing a business deal and you want to just rip their hearts out, right? These guys know what I mean. They've ripped out so many hearts. But when you have nations, it's a little bit different, you know? You gotta all balance out a little bit.
Well, I thought he was going to be a sledgehammer. Didn't the experts say that as well? But on to China. I don't trust China to live up to any deal it makes, including on fentanyl chemicals, but the administration is just going to have to monitor that and enforce compliance. I think Xi is going to nod and shake hands and talk about a new global understanding of mutual respect and probably be a good series of follow-up meetings. But in the end, Xi is a dictator and takes orders from no one. That will not change. The first thing I'd like to see President Trump do when he returns is go to Congress, demand they reopen, and announce a new Manhattan Project for rare earths. No more messing around. No more Chinese blackmail. Right now, Trump officials may say publicly that we're not decoupling from China, but beneath the surface, decoupling is already underway. We'll make our own magnets. We will mine and refine our own rare earth materials. We will make our own magnets and produce our own chips and pharmaceuticals. Since we pulled away from Britain almost 250 years ago, we've been through a lot as a nation. We've ended slavery, the Industrial Revolution, the Great Depression, 2 world wars, civil rights movement, the Cold War, 9/11, COVID. And there is no way that Donald Trump, after everything that he also endured to win 2 elections, is going to leave office with America in a more vulnerable position than when he was sworn in. Instead, he's doing everything he can, using American leverage and his own lifetime of experience to leave us stronger than we've been in decades. And that is a noble goal for a nation about to have a big birthday. And that's the angle.
We'll bring you the latest vitriol on the new Democratic Party, the radical left, and it's all about rage. It's the opposite of what you were just watching, vengeance. And a healthy dose of course, you know, Marxism, socialism, statism. They want to burn it all down and silence any and all dissent, and by any means necessary. I thought it was really introspective of J.D. when he said, you know, well, we shouldn't do this because when they get in power, you just do the right thing. You abide by the Constitution and the rule of law. It's not that complicated. You know, these are the voters that Schumer and Jeffries fear, the base of the Democratic Party. You know, the same highly motivated voters coming out in droves for Marxists, Mamdani, AOC, and other far-left politicians now running for office. Everything you're now seeing from Schumer is because of them and his fear of them. The same with Hakeem Jeffries. This shutdown of Schumer's, the Schumer shutdown, bending the knee, but now he's between a rock and a hard place. His radical base, they're desperate to keep the government shut down until their $1.5 trillion demands are met, including health care money for illegal immigrants, NPR, PBS, and continuing health benefits that were meant for COVID that were meant to expire. On the other hand, we have people in this country, our fellow Americans, 42 million of them, suffering. They need food assistance, SNAP benefits. They have run dry as of Saturday. We have paychecks. They are not going out. Temporarily, we'll be able to pay the military. Air traffic controllers are not being paid, and they are staying home. And by the way, there were 3,300 delays on Monday alone. The American people want Democrats to do what Democrats have been preaching for years, and that's pass a clean, continuing resolution. What does that mean? You fund the government at current levels while they work these things out, rather than using it as collateral or leverage, as every Democrat keeps saying. Now, this includes the president of the union representing government employees. By the way, most of those government employees happen to be Democrats. Take a look.
This whole fiasco need to be resolved. It need to be ended. And people need to do their job, right? And if people are doing their job, guess what? America wouldn't be hungry. Guess what? Federal employees wouldn't be standing in lines to get food. People just need to do their job.
So is your message right now to Democrats in the Senate open to reopen the government and then get back to work? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I'm saying that the American workforce should be at work providing the services for the American people.
Look at this cover. New York Post, quote, "They don't give a chuck. Food benefits for poor run out on Saturday. Democrats still will not open the government." It's not good. And by the way, probably on Monday, if this continues, I might ask many of you to go to your local, food shelter and donate food, because people will be in dire need. Now Chuck Schumer is cracking under the pressure. Take a look.
Irrespective of the dispute on whether USDA contingency funds can be used for SNAP benefits.
It is not, wait a minute, excuse me. It is not a dispute. It is fact they can use it, and the Republicans say it.
Are you saying Democrats have no responsibility for the fact that
we are saying the Republicans can fund it now, and they're using these people as hostages. Plain and simple. Next. That's the answer. The answer is they can fund it right now. Okay? Right now.
They had a chance on that very vote this week, and for the 13th time, they voted no. Now, Chuck can lie all he wants. They're the ones holding the country hostage. They're the ones demanding $1.5 trillion. They're the ones demanding money for other countries' DEI, for PBS and NPR, and for illegal immigrants to get health care coverage. He could be a real leader. Show a tiny ounce of courage on his part. Take a stand against his radical base. But power is more important. He could open the government tomorrow. He can get 5 Democrats to open the government, but he is terrified of a 34-year-old socialist who is running to become the next mayor of New York, and it's probably very likely he will be. It's pathetic to watch. Take a look.
You going to vote for him? Look, the bottom line is very simple. I have a good relationship with him, and we're continuing to talk.
The vote is on Tuesday. What are you going to do?
We're continuing to talk. The election's Tuesday. Now, today, Speaker Johnson perfectly described this cowardice from Schumer and Jeffries. Here's what he said.
We're all concerned about the timing. The Democrats are eating up the clock. We have very important work to do here, and that's why we're pleading with them, not Chuck Schumer. Look, I think Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are irredeemable at this point. I don't think they'll be able to tell Mondami in New York and his disciples that they voted to open the government. I've given up on the leadership. So we're trying to appeal to a handful of moderates or centrists who care more about the American people and will put the people's interests over their own and do the right thing in the Senate. I mean, there's no point in me sitting down with Chuck Schumer. He's painted himself into a corner.
They are leaders in name only, and I'll say in both cases, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, their days are numbered. And it's bad enough the top Democrats are submitting to this radical base, but to make matters even worse than that, Democrats are flat out lying about the shutdown. Take a look.
They are choosing to withhold funding for SNAP because they want to punish hungry children, hungry veterans, hungry seniors, hungry women, and hungry families as part of their continued effort to hurt everyday Americans.
Let me be clear. SNAP recipients are not political pawns. And we're not going to let Donald Trump and Republicans hold them hostage.
Do not go down as the first president in history to manufacture a hunger crisis in the richest country on earth.
They're blaming Republicans who have voted to fund SNAP benefits 13 times, voted to reopen the government 13 times, and send out paychecks 13 times. Needless to say, Majority Leader Thune is beyond frustrated at this point. Take a look.
We are 29 days into a Democrat shutdown. And the senator from New Mexico was absolutely right. SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times. This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives that we're talking about. And you all have just figured out, 29 days in, that, oh, there might be some consequences. There are people who run out of money.
I was not kidding earlier when I said Monday, if this still continues, I'll maybe coming on the air and urging you that can afford it to maybe help out your local food bank with food distribution, because the line's going to get long fast. Now, this frustration is not coming from Republicans. Even fake Jake over at Fake News CNN is shocked at the level of gaslighting from the Democratic Party. This is a moment in time. Take a look.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children. This is a choice by the White House.
This
they
is
are
also,
choosing
Congresswoman,
to
this
cut
is
off
also a
food
choice
assistance.
by Senate Democrats
No,
to not
it is
vote to
not.
open the government. Yes, it is.
At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds
If you
run
feel
out,
so
and we are
strongly,
fighting
Congresswoman,
to get
why
that
not ask
funding.
the Senate Democrats from New Mexico to vote to open the government so that the SNAP funds...
Sir, I am here in the House of Representatives. It is shut down.
Logical question. That was a rare moment. Anyway, meanwhile on CNBC, another Democrat confronted with the cold, hard truth. Look at this.
You're almost conceding that you should not be shutting down the government, that the Democrats should not be doing that. And I don't think you'd ever say that extortion is the way that Republicans should get their way if they don't like the IRA or they don't like overspending or whatever it is at any given point in time where the other party has a disagreement. This is not the way to do it. Are you ready to vote with the Republicans to reopen the government at this point as a reasonable Democrat? Maybe others would follow you.
You know, I'm not there yet because we have had literally, Joe, no discussion whatsoever about how we're going to deal with these spikes in premiums.
This is the right way to do it, Senator? By people not getting paychecks at the TSA? This is extortion. You think this is the right way to do it? In your conscience, you think it's the right way to do it?
All right, you're now witnessing an identity crisis inside the Democratic Party, and I'm afraid to say the party's intrusive thoughts, sadly, are winning. The radicals are winning. Just watch Nancy Pelosi try to answer a question about whether her party has become too radical and extreme. Take a look.
So we respect everybody in our country. So for them to be saying what they're saying about people is like, and you're people of faith? You're people of faith? You go to church on Sunday and pray in church on Sunday and pray on people the rest of the week? What is this? What is this?
Oh, okay. At some point, they won't be able to tiptoe around the subject because the radicals will have, and they really do have, full control of the party. Everyone else, they're going to be tossed in the dustbin of history. By the way, you're looking on your screen, in South Korea, President Trump momentarily will be meeting with China's President Xi. Will obviously carry any remarks live. That's a short helicopter ride away. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.